Hello, hello. I will be taking you through this unit, Introduction to Project Management. I am Dr. K.N. Jacob. I am originally from Kenya. That's in East Africa. My PhD and master's degree are in project management, both of them from the University of Nairobi. That's the oldest university in my home country. I did my bachelor's degree in mathematics from Jomo Kenyatta University. And you know what? My undergrad has come in very handy in my project management profession because one of the things I teach students is network analysis. Perhaps you have heard the concept critical path analysis. Don't worry about that. We are going to cover all that. We are going to deal with all that. Critical path analysis is part of a mathematics branch known as network analysis. I said all this to tell you this. Steve Jobs said, you don't connect the dots moving forward. You connect the dots looking backwards. When I look back, I see the importance of my undergrad degree in math. It has helped me so much as a project manager. Yes, I have been a consultant in project management and strategic management in a couple of countries in Africa, in Europe, in the Middle East, in Southeast Asia, and of course right here in North America. Besides, I lectured at the University of Nairobi for 8 years and Jomo Kenyatta University for 7 years as a part-time lecturer. And I had the opportunity to teach all classes, undergrads, masters, and PhD students. I believe you're going to learn a lot in this class. We will learn from each other. I'll hear your own stories in project management, as you also learn from my personal experience in the field and in the classroom. This will be one of the most exciting and practical units you have ever done. You know, you deal with projects every day of your life, whether subconsciously or consciously. Every aspect of your life is project management, as I'm going to show you right today, right here in this intro class. Of course, every class has some objectives. Today, I will focus on 6 things. Number 1, definition of a project. Number 2, differences between a project and a program. Number 3, the project life cycle. And then number 4, I'll give you the key takeaways, what you need to remember from today's lesson. And then number 5, I'll give you some references, some books and materials that you need to make use of in this particular unit. And then number 6, we will have time for feedback. However, you can stop me at any given moment and ask a question. You don't have to wait until the Q&A time. You can stop me at any given moment. So let me start by just giving you the definition of a project in its simplest way. We'll be looking at 3 things to define a project: time, cost, and scope. I will repeat those 3 words, those 3 concepts over and over and over again: time, cost, and scope. So personally, this is me. I define a project as interconnected activities with predetermined objectives of time, cost, and scope. Let me say that one more time. How I define a project. I define a project as interconnected activities with predetermined objectives of time, cost, and scope. In other words, for activities to qualify to be a project, they must be interconnected. They must be related. In other words, one activity is leading to the next, And these activities have predetermined objectives of time. There's a specific start time and end time, specified time. And then they have a predetermined objective of cost, a particular specified budget. And number 3, scope. Scope may mean the quality, the specifications, the standards, the size, depending on the project. Now, to make the definition of a project clear, for the sake of clarity, let me give you a couple of examples of a project. For example, hosting your birthday party. Hosting your birthday party is a project. Why? It passes the three tests: the test of time, the test of cost, and the test of scope. Look, hosting your birthday party, you have a particular day. You want people to come for your birthday party, and in all likelihood, a certain time of the day. Maybe you want people to come for your birthday party from 5 p.m. to 11 p.m. So you have particular time. Number two, there is a cost to this party. It's going to cost you something to host your friends, to host your guests in your house or in a hotel, restaurant, in a garden, wherever you're going, there is a cost to it. And number three, there is a scope. How many people will come for your party? What do you want to make them for your party? Will there be a cake? Will there be sodas? What incorporates this party? What will make you satisfied with this birthday party? So there are predetermined objectives of time, cost, and scope. Another example of a project: pursuing your degree. That's a project. Why? You want to pursue your degree within a particular time. There is a cost for doing this program. You know, there is the tuition fees, there is the cost for food, cost for books and other learning materials, cost for accommodation, cost for transport. Yes, there is a cost to it. And number three, scope. Scope here means quality, and not just the grade that you will score, but more importantly, the education that you will gain out of the 4 years that you're in school. What will you get out of this degree? What type of a project manager will you be? So pursuing your degree is an example of a project. Let me give you one more example. Constructing a highway from LA to SFO. Constructing a highway from Los Angeles to San Francisco. That's a project. Why? There must be specific time when you want to build this highway. It can't be indefinite. You must specify the time you want to build the highway. Number two, there is a specific budget for constructing this highway. And number three, there is scope. What's that? Scope here means, what is the length of this highway? How many lanes do we need for this highway? What are the bill of quantities? How deep is this highway? What is the quality of this highway? How many years do we want this highway to serve us before maintenance is done, before there are potholes? Can the semi-trailer trucks pass through this highway? What type of vehicles can use this road? Can heavy machinery, can heavy vehicles be driven on this highway? All that is the scope. I'm looking at the quality, the standards, the specifications, the lifespan, the duration this highway is going to serve the public. That's the scope. Because constructing a highway from LA to SFO passes the test of time, passes the test of cost, and passes the test of scope, then it is a project. So guys, give me your own example of a project. Think about it from the time you wake up to the time you sleep. Give me your own example of a project. Remember, all that matters is that these activities must be interconnected and there must be predetermined objectives of time and cost and scope. Give me your own example. Oh, I hope this concept is sinking. Yeah. Now, one of the things people confuse the most is a project and a program. These two concepts are often confused. And it's okay out there because people sometimes use the word project and program interchangeably. That's all right. But that's not okay for you as a project manager, especially when you're speaking to other project managers. There is a professional language that must be used. So for us as professional project managers, there is a difference between a project and a program. A program is continuous, it's ongoing, it's indefinite. That's the difference. A project has a definite time. A project has a definite cost. It has a definite scope. But a program is continuous. It's endless. It's ongoing. And if you don't have a predetermined, if you don't have specified time, then you can't specify the cost. And you can't specify the scope. If you can't specify the time, then you can't specify the cost and you can't specify the scope. And that's not a project, that's a program. Now, these concepts are best understood using examples. So let me use a very simple illustration, a very simple example. Buying a school bus is a project. Running a school is a program. Okay, let me repeat. Buying a school bus is a project. Why? A school bus you buy within a particular time. Maybe you want to buy the bus by June this year. Okay, time. There is a specific cost for this bus. And then there is scope. Scope means many things. What size of a bus do we want? How many students will it carry? What quality of a bus? Is it new or are we buying a used bus? What model? Are we buying a Volvo, a Mercedes-Benz, a Toyota, a Nissan, a Chevrolet? What are we buying? What is the model? So what is the engine capacity? All this is the scope of the school bus. So a school bus has a specific time frame, specific cost, and a very specified scope. But running a school is indefinite. This particular school has been existing before you were born, and the school will be there long after we are gone. Since there is no definite time, then we cannot define the scope and we cannot define the cost. So operating a school is a program, but buying a school bus is a project. Putting up a college laboratory is a project. But teaching chemistry is a program. However, teaching chemistry to sophomore students in 2024, that's a project. There is a very specified time and there is the cost of the tuition, the cost of the learning materials, and there is the scope. There are the learning objectives of the lesson, the learning outcomes, what is expected of the students to master, and that's why they are evaluated in every course. So a particular course for a particular group in a specified time is a project, but running the college, running the university is a program. Let me see whether we are following what I'm saying. I want to ask you a question. Tell me whether this is a project or a program. Okay, ready? Just tell me whether this is a project or a program. Cleaning factory machines. Cleaning factory machines. Is this a project or a program? Yeah, this is a program. Why? We have not specified the time, so we can specify the cost, we can specify the scope. People are always cleaning factory equipment and factory machines. It's done every day, every single day. Every now and then they are dusted, they are cleaned. However, upgrading factory machines in 2024 is a project. If I say we are going to upgrade factory machines in 2024, or in our physics laboratory, we are going to upgrade the equipment in 2024, then I have to define the scope. What equipment are we upgrading? Upgrading from what to what? From what grade to what grade? And then that definitely gives me the budget. Once I define the time, it immediately introduces the concept of scope. I have to define what are the specifications, what do I want to achieve? And of course, that immediately determines the budget. How much are we spending upgrading the machines? How much are we spending to give every student computers in this class? Now that's a project because it has a definite time, specified scope, specified cost. And actually, that's the difference between project management and management. Because you got to know what's the difference between management and project management. Management and management in general is ongoing, is continuous. Project management has specified time, cost, and scope. So many projects make a program. A program is a composite of many projects. Project management is a subset of management. So management is continuous. Say there is this company Z, call it Facebook. That's the company, the operation of that company is management. But maybe they're launching a new product or a new, like threads. Now that becomes a project, launching it. Running it becomes a program because it's continuous, but launching it is a project. So they had a project to work on threads. That's a project they were working on. So in management, we have many projects. One project could be we are upgrading all the laptops of senior management. That's a project. We are buying cars in this year for all the sales team. Now that's project management. Upgrading the laptops for the senior management, that's project management. Specific time, specific cost, specific scope. So this is a project to be done this year for senior management. Or we are going to take the interns through an internship program, an orientation program. The program may be for 5 days. It may take place in Las Vegas or in New York. So there is a specific budget, a specific time frame, and there is scope. There is what we want these people to learn before they join into our organization, before they plug into our company. We want them to understand the company policies. We want them to understand the HR policy, the finance policy. So we have very specific goals for the orientation program. So the orientation program is a project. That's project management within management. So management is the bigger construct. Within it, there is a subset of many projects. So management implements many projects. So project management is a subject of management. Project management has specific time, cost, and scope. Management is ongoing. Management is continuous. Whether you call it management or general management is the same thing. But project management introduces the concept of specifying the time, the cost, and the scope for this particular project. It has a closure. This date we have to close the project and perhaps open a new project. Or we run different projects continually. We are going to discuss that later in the course because we have different ways of running projects. We are going to talk about that much more in details. Now, I've given you my own definition of project management. PMI is the most respected institute in this profession. PMI stands for Project Management Institute. So being the authority body in project management, I have to give you their definition. So PMI defines a project as a temporary effort to create value through a unique product, service, or result. Let me repeat. PMI defines a project as a temporary effort to create value through a unique product, service, or result. If we look at this definition on the screen closely, three concepts to call out. There are three concepts to call out: temporary, value, and unique. Look at the definition again. There are three concepts to call out: temporary, value, and unique. Temporary means what? Time. Temporary, you're defining time. Value means what? Cost. When you say what is the value of this watch, what is the value of this phone, you're asking the cost. Unique means scope. Unique product, service, or result. Scope. How are we going to know we have achieved the project? What are the specifications? What is the quality? What is the standard? That's the scope. What is the size? That's the scope. So basically the definition of PMI of a project is in line with exactly what I told you is a project. And we do all this to satisfy the stakeholders. So the stakeholders must be satisfied that the project was implemented within the specified time, cost, and scope. So when we are checking whether this project achieved its objectives, we are checking the objectives of time, cost, and scope. So we are saying, was this project done within the time we had planned? Was this project done within the cost, the budget? Was this project done according to scope, the standards, the quality, the specifications, the size that we had defined? If that is the case, then the stakeholders are satisfied. Who is a stakeholder? A project stakeholder is anyone with a stake in the project. What's a stake? A stake is an interest in the project. Let me go to the example I gave you earlier. Constructing a highway from LA to SFO. You are constructing that highway. Who are the stakeholders? Of course, number one is the client. Who is the client? Maybe in this case, it is the state government of California. This could be the client. Then there is the contractor, the guy who is implementing the project. Then there are the engineers who are going to give the design of the road project. And we are going to have other engineers, external engineers, consulting engineers who are going to come and evaluate the project to check the value for money. Did the state government of California get value for money? There are many other people along that highway who will be impacted by the highway. Estate owners, home owners. There are people who are concerned with the environment, climate change. They are concerned whether there will be a lot of dumping and a lot of dust pollution. Maybe some animals will be displaced as we construct this highway. There will be the suppliers of raw materials for this highway. There are employees who are going to be part of the project team, the implementers of this highway. All these people have an interest in this highway. We call them stakeholders. And I'll be back to discuss with you more about stakeholders. We call it stakeholder analysis. We will be checking the interest of every stakeholder and the extent of the interest of the stakeholder. For now, what you need to remember is that a stakeholder, a project stakeholder, is anyone with an interest in the project. Were they satisfied? When we do a stakeholder analysis, were they satisfied that this project was done within time, cost, and scope? Scope also includes you're not destroying the environment. You are taking care of other stakeholders. So we are not doing one project at the detriment of other people. We are doing this project for the benefit of humanity. So we shouldn't destroy people to help people. No. So that's why we must take care. We must be cognizant of the interests of other people in the project. And these people are called stakeholders. And the last concept I want to teach you in this lesson today is the project life cycle. The project life cycle has 5 phases. There is the project initiation, project planning, project implementation, project monitoring, and project evaluation. Project initiation is how do you start the project? How do you know whether this project will succeed or not? What is the probability of this project succeeding? Should we give this project a white flag, a go ahead? Should we flag it to go on or should we stop it? We don't want unnecessary surprises later. It's okay to manage risks, but let's first think, will this project work or not? So one of the classes we will be doing with you is project initiation techniques, and I'll be teaching you both parametric and non-parametric methods of project initiation. So that's the first phase. The second phase is planning. This is where you draw the plans, the designs of the project. You come up with the finance plan, the management plan, the raw material plan, the technology plan. You draw all these plans, the blueprints for implementing the project. So I will come back, a full lesson, just taking you through project planning and design. The third phase is implementation. To implement means to perform. This is project execution, project performing. This is that phase when you execute, when you perform. That's what we mean by implementation. This is the actual work. This is where the rubber meets the road. Again, we are going to do a whole lesson on project implementation. The fourth phase is monitoring. Monitoring is checking whether the project is going as per the plan. Sometimes it's called project controlling. Some books will write project monitoring and controlling. We are checking whether what we did in phase 2, the plan, whether phase 3 is going as per phase 2. Whether implementation is going as per the plan. That's what monitoring is all about. The key thing with monitoring, it's continuous. It's continuous. It's a continuous process. And then the fifth phase is project evaluation. We are checking the worth of the project. We are looking back to check the overall picture, the big picture. Did we achieve the predetermined objectives of time, cost, and scope? Was this project done within time? Was this project done within budget? If not, what's the variance? Can we compute the variance between what was planned and the actual reality on the ground? And number 3, the scope. Did we achieve the project quality, the project specifications, the size of the project expectations by the project stakeholders? That's when you're evaluating. You conduct a project evaluation. This is a very rigorous scientific process, and you have to give a project report to the project manager, who presents it to the project owners, whoever commissioned the project. So this is the client who was interested with this project. You have to present it to whoever commissioned you to do this project. So the main difference between evaluation and monitoring is continuous. It's ongoing. Evaluation, you evaluate the project against major milestones and at the end of the project. So for example, if this is a road construction project and it's going for 3 years, you may do an evaluation at the end of the first year. You may do an evaluation at the end of the second year. And of course, you must do an evaluation at the end of the project. We call it end time evaluation. Again, we are going to discuss in details types of evaluations, how they are done, and how you present an evaluation report. Let me caution you. Some of the books you're going to read don't have the 5 phases. They have 6 phases. Initiation, planning, implementation, monitoring, evaluation, and then closure. And closure there means presenting the project report, the project evaluation report. For me, I normally combine the evaluation, the presentation of the report. I combine them as one phase. In some books, you are going to find there are only 4 phases. Others, 7 phases. You shouldn't be bothered by this. But for the sake of this class and standardizing our learning, I'll require you to talk about the 5 phases of a project life cycle. And we call it a life cycle because after you close the project in phase number 5, you initiate the next project. You don't die away. You don't fade away. You initiate the next project. That's why it's a cycle. Once you close one project, you initiate the next project. So it becomes a going concern. That's an accounting term to mean it's alive. The project is alive. It's going on. Project management. You pick one project after another. You initiate the next project. What are the lesson takeaways? I need you to remember 5 things from today's class. Number 1, I need you to know how to describe what is a project and what is not. Describing what a project is and is not. Number 2, knowing the difference between a project and a program. Number 3, knowing the difference between management and project management. Number 4, defining a project stakeholder. And number 5, knowing the 5 project management phases used to track project work. So those are the 5 lesson takeaways. I'm going to send you the PowerPoint presentation so that you can process more. And for your reference, I want to say this, for your reference. Any material you come across from Project Management Institute and from Project Management Academy is credible. It's credible. You can use it for both academic and professional purposes. Nonetheless, I want to recommend 3 books for you for the purposes of this class. The first book I want to recommend for your reference, A Guide to the Project Management Body of Knowledge by Project Management Institute. Number 2, Fundamentals of Project Management by Joseph Hegney. And number 3, Project Management Absolute Beginner's Guide by Gregory M. Horwin. Those are the 3 references that I'll give you for this class. So before I go, let me get your feedback now. And feedback, I mean any question, any comment, any takeaway, any learning point, even places of disagreement where you disagree with what I said. This is that moment. Your feedback matters to me. We learn by listening to you. So this is your time to give me feedback, to tell me what you learned, what was not clear, any question, any clarification, any comment, and even your general view about this class and your teacher. This is time for feedback. Over to you guys. All right, thank you so much. I appreciate that feedback. And once again, I am Dr. K. Jacob. My phone number is 678-818-5372. Feel free to call me anytime. Anytime. I'm there for you. You can also email me at drknjacob@gmail.com. drknjacob@gmail.com. It's such a pleasure for me taking you through this class. I am so excited. And I hope you too are excited with our class. Thank you so much. Cheers.